Are you guys ready for a new series? Because this is going to be a little bit different. So I hope you're ready because we're going to be mixing up different color palettes together. OMG, here we go. Hey guys, so I thought it would be a fun idea to create a new series that I'm going to call Battle of the Color Palettes. So my idea is pick a random color palette from a generator, use that one, and then take the exact opposite colors and then color like the other half with that. So it's gonna be like two creatures battling essentially with this. I thought would be really fun. So I'm actually gonna do a couple Griffins first because I haven't really drawn Griffins in a little while. So I thought it would like figuring out the colors when I get there. But for now, this pen is gloopy. For now, we're just gonna try and figure out the posing, and then I'll get them drawn, and then we'll come back to doing the actual colors. I think I'm gonna do. I'll probably just like end up doing three colors or something. I'm thinking about doing five. We'll see. I think for this one though, probably since they're in the air, I wonder have something like this. Because I don't really draw Griffins that much. They're just not one of my main animals. But I just thought it would be fun to kind of do them. Let's see. I guess I could have one flying up. Because if I have one kind of coming down, but he's like turning, maybe, because it's aerial. So this one could be mid-flap. So I could do something like that. Yeah, because if this one could be maybe bigger, because it could be closer. Or something. So we'll just put mid-flap. So now the question is, what's the environment? Because I could almost maybe have trees. How do I want to do this? I wonder how far up do I want to... Oh, I could have it tilted. OMG. I could. Ooh, that actually might be kind of cool. Because if, then obviously probably mountain range. Maybe back here could be water. So, ooh, maybe finding in clouds. I don't know how much I'm gonna do this. We'll see. I might just question mark that. I think it might be interesting though if I could figure out the cloud situation. So I'll have to see. No promises there. So we have that. Do I want to... I kind of want to have an element somewhat up close to them just to kind of add, because back here obviously it's going to be very flat color, so the main focus will be on them. I mean, I guess I could add the clouds in here to kind of help with that, but then not unless I do more mountain ranges. I could kind of maybe make it almost like a bowl, I suppose, because you have mountains on this side, mountains here, or just really rocky terrain here. I might just do mountains. So then they'll just need more detail. So this is going to be on the paper slanted. Okay, so I have that. Maybe I could put the sun back here. Obviously the sun's not going to be that big, but it's just for shading purposes. I think also just to kind of help push myself a little bit too with certain shading aspects, because I tend to kind of do like a few types of shading. I don't do a whole bunch, but I'm trying to get into doing more lighting situations. It's also why I'm kind of curious to see what the colors are, see what I can do with that. So then maybe down here we could kind of just do like, I guess, wetlands with like, you know, your grass and your water type of thing. Maybe. So I'll just put wetlands. I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I think that's gonna be it for the sketch. So probably a little more involved. But yeah, so it'll be straight on the paper, but obviously this down here is gonna be turned to kind of give it a feeling of being in an aerial battle versus like straight. So that's why I think it'd be kind of cool if I could turn it. And that's where we're gonna go. So I'm gonna get started and then I'll come back for some drawing action. All right, drawing wise. So for this Griffin down here, I almost want to have him kind of, I guess, like struggling in a way because obviously he's trying to gain air really fast because you got that top Griffin who's kind of just chilling up top. Doesn't really have to struggle. It's already got the air advantage. So for this one, I was wanting to kind of give him more of a ruffled look, like he's like in that awkward flight pose of trying to gain air as quickly as possible. That's also why I have a lot of his like feathers like kind of poking up at the ends because again, it's just I feel like with the constant flapping as fast as he's going, that's what's going to happen, and just being also ruffled and just angry at the same time. So of course you ruffle your feathers whenever that happens, right? That's how the saying goes. So that was my idea for that. Also perspective, I know I'm just trying to like do different things. So it might look a little funny, but that's what I'm trying to do. But the background was very simple. This wing right here, again, I was trying to do perspective where the top part was a little closer to us and like the farther the wing goes back towards the longer feathers. I don't know what they're called, but they're almost like shorter, even though they're actually not. They're just farther from us. So you'll have to, I'm just going with it because I'm like, I just got to try something. Overall, I still think it looks fine in the end. But obviously, a little bit of work needs to get done. But that's okay. That's not the whole point of this. The point was me trying something new, doing something different, just having fun with this. Which in the end, I did. I think overall, it actually turned out really nicely. But you'll see when we get there, because I know I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks good. Well, as I do more, I'll get more practice. But on to the coloring. All right, now that we have the drawing done, it is time to pick the colors. So my intention is what I have pulled up here is it's going to be a 5 palette generator, color palette generator, like with 5 colors. So what my thought is sometimes it will actually do it where it's like 2 colors in the same family, like 2 blues or 2 purples. So if that happens, I'll just say, okay, we're going with a blue and a purple. Opposite color will be like orange and yellow, like whatever the hell I just said. So this is what we have up first, is essentially just 3 greens, a gray, and a black. So I was like, obviously that is actually right up my alley. Actually, there's a blue, green, and a black. Oh, this is my kind of color palette. So we're gonna pick a different one. Oh, okay. Oh crap. Okay, here, I don't want to do black. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do, because there's a black here, there's 2 blues, a lavender, and a pink color, which it says rosy unknown, so to me is like a dark pink is what it looks like. So we're going to do a pink, a purple, and blue. How about that? So let's go there. So I have a blue, I need pink, and purple. How about that? I feel like that's a relatively classic kind of combination. So which we'll probably pick up here for this Griffin, I think, is what we'll do, just because he's kind of, I guess, coming from the left. He's the first one. So then I'm gonna need a light green for that pink, if I can get it out. So we have light green. I will need an orange. So we have orange, and I need yellow. Okay, I actually hate working with yellow. Yellow is my most hated color because I don't like it. All right, so since blue was up first, I'm gonna make that the main body, so it'll essentially be the lion's body. I'll do purple probably for the head, and then pink will be for the beak and such, just because of the way the order came in. So blue here, I'm gonna have to kind of play around. It is only a sketch, so it's fine, but essentially blue through here. So then we'll have purple. And also here. And then pink. Pretty much for the legs and the face. Okay, so now the wings. Let me actually look up eagle wings. I want to say they're mostly going to be brown, but let me just double check here. I think they are. I mean, eagle wings. Let's see. I'm just going to do an American eagle. And I need wings. Hello. I pulled everything else up but wings. Okay, so it looks like they're mostly brown and the tips are, so like they're really like super long feathers are white. So I think what I'm gonna do is obviously most of this will be blue. So a good chunk of this is blue. So essentially what I'm doing here will just be copied literally the opposite of there. I might, how do I want to do this? Because someone just honked their horn. So obviously here, I might do the very tips of them pink. Just to kind of add a little bit, I think. Okay, so we have that now. So we have something like this. All right, so let's go ahead and take care of this. I need orange. So I'm like, I have to remember what I was doing here because I don't remember. I want to say something of this was brown. So I need yellow for up here. And then green for the... You know what's funny is that I actually really like this color combination with the orange, yellow, and green. I actually really like that. So now what I'm thinking, because here's the question, is do I want to do literally the opposite on each side to make them stand out? Or, you know, because I was like, I could have them on one side, but I think I might switch the background so they stand out even more. I think would actually be a really good idea. So, because orange is going to be a really big color. So let's go here along with the mountains. So I'm literally going to try and do like half. And when it comes to the clouds will be a mixture of things. So I think I'm also going to do it this way. Where it's sort of cut. So I think that's what I'll just end up doing is anywhere there's one color will just be the exact opposite on the other side or something. Alright, so we have this. So then I might do I want purple and maybe I could do purple and yellow in the sky. Alright. Okay. I feel like this will look a lot better when I actually try. So now we're gonna have green and pink, right? So I could do that for the water. Oh yeah, this is about alright. Yeah. How about that? Alright, and then coming down here. Obviously, I have more clouds in the picture, which I'll just figure them out as I go, because essentially this whole thing's gonna be pretty much cut in half. So if the cloud is like halfway, then whatever side it's on will just be the opposite color is what my intention is. So now coming down here, maybe I could do purple and yellow, because then maybe the green and pink could be most of the clouds. Yeah, that's right. I feel like would be a good idea to have these as being mostly clouds for these, since there's only, I think would be a good idea. Okay, and then down here we'll just do purple and yellow. So I'm like, since I'm doing the opposite, I'm like, what color do I need to grab? I don't know. And it's literally just gonna be this. this actually might end up being super cool if I can do this right. Okay, so we have that, right? I know, it's just a blob of color. So let's grab a gray, because that is not going to be dark enough. Here. So, because obviously for shading, this is what has to happen. So I might leave just a little bit underneath the wing light, I suppose, because what, like light bouncing off or whatever. I feel like kind of makes the most sense. I don't know. We'll figure it out as I go. Okay. Right. So same thing with down here. I feel like it would also, I guess, because it's maybe gonna be a little bit more like dynamic lighting, so it actually might help make it look a little bit better. I don't know. I mean, obviously back here it's gonna be very flat coloring. There's not gonna be a whole lot, because whenever I do this, it'll just be markers put down, and I'll do the pencil only. I won't put do the full marker. So the same with the sky. So. And the sun, so it'll probably just be mostly the clouds, the griffins, and then right down here is where it's going to get the full the full treatment, pretty much. But obviously I still want to kind of hit it up a little bit. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're going to be doing. So again, I feel like once I actually do this and I do it for real, it's actually going to look a lot better, and it actually might look really cool. So I'm going to get started, and then I'll come back to continue. So now comes the fun part of really bringing these guys to life. I will say, this wasn't that difficult, to be honest. It really wasn't. But it's just like, as it came together, it looks weird. If you don't think about it, it looks fine. But the more you think about it, it just starts looking weird. So it does both, I suppose. It's just because the colors are just opposite one another. But like, opposites attract, you know, especially like on the color wheel. That's the whole the whole point. But it just looks funny when they're all together. I'm not gonna lie, especially because it's just definitely like competing colors, but they work at the same time. So I'm like, what the heck? Anyway, so this is actually like really the only part of the background I actually color with marker besides the clouds, just because the top of the mountains here are closer to us, so I thought that would make sense, and the background's just farther away, so I was like, we're not even gonna really focus on that. It's just kind of somewhat, in a way, blurred out, and we're not gonna worry about it. So, and obviously the more important part are the actual griffins themselves. They're the main characters. So I also just wanted that there, which I do think helped in the end. They actually definitely still stand out from the background, but also having them on opposite color backgrounds also helped me out. So there's that. That's also a plus. But this griffin, I like his color palette more, but he's definitely not my favorite. This one is, I'm going to call this one the girl, because she has more feminine colors to me. The one trying to climb upwards, he has more masculine colors, so that'll be the guy. But she, to me, was just better executed overall, funny enough. I think, like, later on, like, you'll see why when I do pencil. But it's just, when I was coloring her with the pencil, she just turned out so much better. But also because the bottom griffin has yellow, and I do not like working with yellow. I can't stand it, because it's just, no. I just prefer, like, colors that I have an easier time working with, and yellow is not one of them, because it's so weird. Because if you go too dark, you can mess it up. Too light, it's just not gonna look right. But even here in the marker, you can see she definitely looks a lot better. So that's also what I want to keep up with. Like, even here in the pencil right now, like, you can already see her feathers. I'm like, oh my gosh, they turned out, they're just so good. I'm like, so she's my favorite of the two, for sure. She it just looks better. It's ridiculous, but interior. Obviously, the green's still my favorite, though. But color palette-wise, she's my favorite. Even, like, doing the clouds were a little interesting, because obviously there's the sun, but I was like, at first, I was like, how many do I actually want to do with marker? But I decided to do all of them because they're kind of up close. Obviously, like, their wings kind of cutting through the clouds didn't completely work out for me, but I was also doing, like, little bitty clouds. I wasn't doing, like, huge clouds. So if I ever do, like, aerial guys again, maybe I can work on that. We'll see. But even like color wise, it still looks good. Now this green was kind of weird because I always put indigo blue in my shadows now because I like how that looks. And when I went to blend out, like before, the blue would become like so blended, it just didn't, there really was no shading to the clouds. Obviously the pink is fine because the pink against the blue works great. So I had to mess around with that. So I just didn't blend the clouds because of that. I just stopped blending the clouds. Like, I essentially just stopped blending like this Griffin. I stopped blending essentially except for the orange. Just so it could help. Like you can see here with the yellow, it just is, I don't know. This is also like a lemon yellow is what I'm using. So I chose like a slightly darker color than lemon, which I don't want to say goldenrod. I don't think it's gold. It might be goldenrod. But so like it doesn't really show anything. So when I add the indigo blue, obviously it's gonna make it a lot darker. But I'm like, also there's the sun up to the top right. So I'm like, I guess this makes sense too. But I'm like, ugh. I mean, blending it out kind of helped a little bit, but it's just, I don't know, it just makes yellow look gross. So that's why I'm like, I don't really like using yellow. Obviously, I still do just to kind of have it, to not shy away from it, but I just don't like it very much. But the green is probably just the best overall. Well, between that, the green and the blue are the best overall because with this indigo blue, they just blend so nicely together because obviously it just works. So, all right, here's my favorite. But you can see what I mean by her feathers. When I do the full thing, you'll understand. But it's just feather-wise, especially on those wings, are perfect. I was very happy with how I did them. Her colors are fine as well. That purple was pretty dark, but that's all right. I normally do a dark purple. I do have a lilac I'll use sometimes, but this, I just chose a dark purple. So I thought it would work nicely and just kind of be a nice contrast between all these like lighter, somewhat lighter colors. And I do like to use gray for my highlight when I do purple, because in the end, when I blend it out, it just looks really good together. And I am using a dark purple because that's like the darkest purple I have besides this violet that I'm using to kind of help with shading before I add in the indigo blue, just to add a little bit more layering and such. So like even here, I'm doing most of her in shadow because of, again, where the sun's at. And I'm like, well, that makes sense. By adding that gray in there, I can highlight some of her feathers, which I do think help overall, and also the white as well. So that's what that is. But with that, we're going to be at the end of the video. So I hope you enjoy. This is, again, the first one I'm doing of this color palette battle challenge. It was a lot of fun overall. The colors work and they don't at the same time. So it's like defying, I don't know, it's just like breaking all the rules, but like in a good way. Overall, it's just fun to work with and just try something new. But I hope you guys enjoyed. So if you want to see more from me, I have comics and dragons, dinosaurs, whatever. Please feel free to subscribe. And here's our final look. Again, she turned out great. Overall, this was a fun project. I probably could have done more with the background. However, I think overall I'm pretty happy, but they're also in the air. So again, I don't normally do something like this, especially with background wise. So just kind of having most of it far away and the characters up close just kind of definitely brought something new. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye!